Don't let the fragments of silicon hit you on the way out.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host, Adam. Joining me, as always, are Galax and Petty Fan. As previously mentioned, we were originally supposed to have our good friend John from Manga Gamer here this week, but and I don't think this is the first time this has happened with him. I'm like, when I think about it, but he had to drop out this week because he didn't remember when his anniversary was.
Yeah, it may not have been specifically anniversary before, but he has definitely forgotten about
prior obligations.
Pre-existing life events.
Yeah, especially with his wife. Like, it's kind of amazing. So, we are doing other things this week. But before that, let us get to the news. Galax, why don't you start us off this week?
Well, we missed the show last week, so we missed out that last Wednesday my grandmother finally passed, and so that's sad, but also she's not suffering anymore, and we're kind of moving towards trying to get our lives back to normal, although she's being cremated, and we're not doing a memorial ceremony until in the new year, so we'll see how that goes when it comes. It's a rainy day, so I have a headache. As often happens, and it was scary to drive to and from work. New season just started for Splatoon 2 or 3, which is nice. Got some new weapon kits and some actual new weapons. And though the current Salmon Run is not on the new map, there is a new Salmon Run map, so that will be interesting. Plus, I think Big Run is later this month, so that should be fun. I think that's all I got.
Hey, Petty, it's your go.
Well, I guess the big thing for me just kind of happened today where I saw my orthopedic doctor about my knee, and looks like my problem is arthritis. And this is the knee I had surgery on 3 years ago. They're going to try...
Well, stop having that.
They're going to try some kind of... It's like a gel injection. But that's more of a stopgap until they can see about doing a knee replacement.
Oh, so, the specific thing that you've been trying to avoid.
Yep.
Like, well, how bad is the arthritis?
It's fairly significant. Like, there is some, like, bone-on-bone rubbing, which is rather uncomfortable. So, yeah, I'm still going to be doing therapy, at least for the short term. We're waiting to hear back from insurance. They should cover the shots. They just got to go through, all the various steps. Because insurance be like that sometimes. And yeah, so that's fun. We're still trying... we're still waiting for Mom to find out something about a job. and it's starting to get kind of a pain in the ass because we don't know what the hell is going on because she won't call her employer, to see what's up with any of the job applications she's filed or interviews she's
That's
been on.
something you have to do.
Yeah. Like, she's afraid they're just going to fire her even though she's doing everything that they've asked of her. And honestly, at this point, firing her would be a blessing because she could apply for unemployment, at least have some income coming in, instead of draining my sister and our savings, basically trying to make sure she has money to pay bills. Because both my
Right.
sister and I are on fixed income with disability, and she's taking
Not
more than we're getting in.
that.
So she needs to basically shit or get off the pot because we literally can't keep helping her.
That's the thing that's going to come to a head very soon.
Luckily, my sister had some saved stimulus money, but that's almost gone. So
Yeah, you should probably deal with this in the next few days, I think.
yeah, we've been trying to, but my mom has a victim complex and thinks we're all being mean to her. So
I
yeah,
mean,
it's getting infuriating at this point.
if you have to get mean about it.
Well, it's like, instead of actually doing something, she just shuts down and starts crying. Yeah,
Oh boy.
yeah. So yeah, we have no clue what we're going to be doing.
Well, anything else?
Not really. Because
Good.
obviously, kind of hard to get any new games when, most of what you got has to be shoveled towards your fucking mother.
It depends on what level of game you're getting, I'd say.
Yeah, well, I was looking to get either Sonic Frontier or Pokemon, but
Yeah, $60 games. That's maybe outside the discourse
yeah.
right now.
Like, the only decent thing is supposedly Monzumi getting a stimulus because her injury was workers' comp related, but we have no idea how long it's going to be because her pre-hearing
that's not a thing to count on.
Well, she's going to be getting something, but we don't know how long it's going to be. The pre-hearing is the end of the month. It could
That's what I mean. I don't mean count on. I should say it's not something to wait on, I guess.
Yeah. Like, it'd be different if it was like, oh yeah, this is going to be processed next week, but yeah, I don't know.
All right.
So I guess to you, Adam.
Not want that on.
No,
All right.
we don't.
Let's see. I guess. Let's see. My news. Well, let's see. Bills, I suppose. Because I had to get my phone repaired over the Thanksgiving holiday. Because while I was coming home, or rather, when I was in the carport outside, I, my phone slipped out of the car and hit the concrete. Glass side down. So
I mean, you can get lucky or unlucky with that, but yeah.
it was unlucky. Because I suppose it could have been worse because my phone still worked. It's just the screen had cracked quite extensively. So I had to take it down to the repair shop to get it fixed. And I'm like, still debating if that was worth it because ultimately it cost me $120 to get this thing fixed. I'm like, apparently it cost that much because they had to special order the particular screen to the phone I use.
I mean, I guess depending on your phone, that's kind of a deal.
It's a Motorola Moto G.
Like, I know for the phones we have, we have phone insurance, but like screen repair or replacement is $200 down. So I mean, it's kind of decent if you think about it like that, but I don't know.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, this took about a week to get fixed, mainly to get the screen in.
Hey, at least it was fixable and not
Yeah.
oh no, there's a piece of lint clogged in your port. You'll have to get a new phone.
I'm like, I'm guessing you're speaking from experience on that one.
I have not, but I've heard a lot of stories about phones that are just considered non-repairable, especially Apple products. But
Anyway, so on top of that, a couple of medical bills came in from before I switched insurances, and it's a reminder of why I switched insurances. One of them has been taken care of. The other will be taken care of in a day or two.
Boy, isn't the insurance marketplace great?
I can't talk about that because my insurance previous to this was Medicare. So, like honestly, the private sector has been helping me, like because on a Medicare Advantage plan, which is
no, I just mean literally the way that like insurance works.
It depends on the insurance because I'm like when I was on Medicare, I had to finance 20% of any and all costs, which was still to the tune of hundreds of fucking dollars.
That's true.
With my current insurance, that all has been reduced to, oh, hey, I go down to urgent care, it's $10. I go to a specialist, it's $15. Yeah, there's other strings attached to that, but it's a lot less in expenses. I'm like, my hospital stay was $17,000. I only had to pay about $75 out of that. Or technically 125 or 150. Like there was an initial $75 when I went in. Point is, that was I could afford that. I would not have been able to afford even what it would have cost on Medicare.
Does Medicare not have premiums?
They do. That's part of the expense.
Oh.
I still am paying some of that, but a lot less. I don't want to get into it. Anyway, so with that in mind, let us move to the main event of the evening, which is something different. This was requested by Petty, probably an attempt to stave off more Heaven's Vault.
Yeah.
But what we have here is Stick Fight the Game.
So, do y'all want some violence?
Yes?
Well, let's get on with it.
Is it on screen?
Yeah.
Do not hit that lever.
Right. I'm blue.
Oh.
That's why I said don't hit that lever.
I didn't mean to hit it. Oh no. And so we begin.
I guess we got player 4 happening anyway.
Yeah. Oh no.
Goodbye,
Oh no.
interloper. Where did he get a fucking gun?
Oh yeah.
There was another gun.
Guns and
Okay,
stuff
so this is
randomly
based
spawn.
on those fucking animations from the early internet.
Yes.
Oh,
So there definitely are weapons. They're just relatively
Yeah,
rare.
yeah.
See,
I
another
got-
one just dropped up the top.
Yeah.
Blue has a gun now.
Yeah, I have a gun, but yeah, the jumping decided to get shitty.
The problem is that in attempting to emulate those games, it has significantly failed. Because the entire point of those games was that everything is elegantly choreographed. And you
Right.
can't do that with fucko controls.
Well, this is trying to be Smash Brothers and not being terribly successful at it.
I'm not sure I would say it's being Smash Brothers.
I mean,
Oh,
just
that's
in
a snake
general.
gun. Some of the achievements are kind of funny.
What does the snake gun do?
It literally shoots a snake.
Okay, but what is it like? Is there a
She got his gun.
Dance, monkey, dance.
Fuck. Oh, we're back on this.
No, it's different. This
So I
time there's
see.
no ground.
Oh no. I have failed.
So there are allegedly 100 stages of this plus a stage editor.
Yes.
Okay, so they are movable, just not easily.
Oh no. He's got a gun. Okay, game.
I was not dead. I mean, I was gonna be, but I wasn't.
The fuck? I'm calling bullshit on this game.
Some of the guns do have a bit of a kick and they can throw you. That one might have been lag on your end, Adam.
Yeah. Hey!
So this one is the sudden death map.
One of them.
Okay, that's true. There seem to be many.
Why is this lagging so much?
I don't know, because which color are you?
He's blue.
I don't know. Petty Fan's ping might be. Is it said it was like 94?
I mean, that's not that bad. I've definitely played on worse.
What is up with the jumping controls on this?
They're fucky. Like all of the goddamn movements in this, the controls are fucky. Like I said, that's where this is failing at trying to emulate those cartoons,
Yeah.
is that those were all very carefully choreographed. And this has one attack button, one jump button, one Smash Brothers style guard button, and everything has a ton of momentum.
God.
Oh god.
I died a millisecond after you, apparently.
What's that? Did we just not?
Yeah, we just didn't load into that one
Yeah,
properly.
that was a really bad desync issue there. Oh no. Y'all can sort out your differences.
You fucking piece of shit!
I don't know how I died there.
Oh no. Oh god.
I did not know you could shoot through those platforms.
What the fuck?
No. I'm too pretty to be shot.
We repeating stages?
No, this
No.
one's new. It's the same background.
It says the name of the stage at the start of every stage. It said there are over 100 different stages. It didn't say how different they were.
Fair.
Why is it always gotta be snakes? Big ol' whiff.
Ah.
He's still alive.
Well,
More
now
alive
I'm
than
dead.
you.
No.
Got ya.
Oh God.
I think we pushed each other into.
Oh fuck. Get low.
Apparently, you can't. Oh, enough. Ah.
Oh God. Oh, I see what happened. Yeah, you just kind of direct hit me in the head with that.
Yep.
That'll do it. Oh no, I thought that was me.
Die.
Well, it didn't matter much. Oh, it
Oh,
might
no.
have given us a fourth person on purpose because it would be unbalanced if it was 3.
Maybe.
Like, literally physics unbalanced.
Okay, game. No! I was gonna hide. And here we see the cicadas coming up for spring.
But yeah, even the basic attack has a huge forward lunge to it.
Notice this.
I think there are like 2 kind of attacks. There's like the right trigger attack, and then there's X button.
No, those are the same.
Hmm.
Just as there are 2 different shield buttons.
No, I don't want to be here. Okay. Oh, by the way, ice is breakable.
That's good to know.
By gunfire, of course.
What about sword fire?
Oh, and ice crushes you.
Yup.
Well, yeah, if it lands on you.
Oh god, I shot myself. That's one way to do it. Oh god, the snakes can fly. I mean, the wait what is kind of apt. Oh no. That's one way to win.
It is indeed one way to win.
Oh no.
There's another way to win.
Let the three stooges kill each other. Oh god.
Victory by default.
Oh.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, that was kind of fucked.
Extremely.
Oh no.
The fuck?
He had a pistol. I'm thinking he ran out of pistol ammo.
Not anymore.
Sing the song of your people.
Oh, come on! Oh, I guess that's out.
Yeah.
If you're, like, 1 pixel to the left of the top of the screen.
I guess they're a fan of the show.
I don't know.
Huh.
That one made no fucking sense. I'm just gonna take a nap. Oh no, my ankles. That's not good. That's not good. I don't even want to know what the fuck you just shot at me.
Laser, in fact, hot.
Yes. Just fly and kick his ass through it.
Uh-huh. Victory is mine.
Is it though?
In that case, yes.
Y'all have fun over there.
The spear is doing weird things to the light. Not sure how you weren't getting killed there.
I guess host privilege, because it wasn't... Oh god. Oh god.
Is it just raining or is someone shooting that?
Though it's just raining balls of
Okay.
death.
Yeah.
Then I feel slightly less bad.
It's raining, man.
I keep thinking I'm
What
a
the
different
fuck was
color
that?
I keep thinking I'm a different color than red.
You are, in fact, red.
Yeah, if the jumping could work.
This one's blowing up bombs, yes.
Your luck.
Oh god.
Oh, that's stand-onable? That
I
would have been nice to know.
had no idea that was stand on, but it looked like background to me. Demonation.
You motherfucker.
Opportunistic predator.
What am I supposed to do? Not do that?
No, you're supposed to let me win.
Look, I wasn't trying to take out you. I was trying to take out the green guy. You were just in the way.
I think the game just crashed for me. No, just big old lag spike there.
Yeah, the snakes are kind of buggy.
No shit.
I'm not here. I am invisible. I am not but a twig.
Anyway, we should probably wrap this up
Yeah.
because we have some territory to cover.
Okay. How do you do that?
I guess just quit game.
A quick game.
Or main menu, I guess. So yeah, that was janky.
Yes, it was.
It's interesting for like a one-off thing. I wouldn't say do it every time we need a spot to fill, but
See, the main thing is it reminds you of Duck Game, and I like Duck Game better.
fair enough.
I'll be right back.
So I guess we need transitional music.
Yes, we do.
Okay, I'm back.
I was surprisingly expertly timed.
Indeed.
Anyway, so welcome to the topic of discussion for the week. As previously mentioned, we're talking about Metroid Fusion as part of the 20th anniversary of, the Metroid games, what came out in 2002. Because reiterating, Metroid Prime and Metroid Fusion came out on the exact same day. So they had the exact same birthday, November 18th. Anyway, so unlike with Metroid Prime, it seems that the team here has a bit more experience with Metroid Fusion in that they have played it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Game Boy Advance. I didn't have a GameCube.
Be that as it may, there's a lot more experience here with Metroid Fusion. Indeed, Metroid Fusion, which is the canonical Metroid 4.
Mm-hmm.
I know that is weird to think about, but Metroid went to the Resident Evil school of counting installments, apparently.
Well,
But
that's what happens when you make a 1 and a 2, and then you decide you want to have 2.5 games that take place between 1 and 2.
more to the point, a lot of that has to do with just how absolutely they wrote themselves into a corner regarding the actual name of the franchise.
Makes franchise. Makes title name of franchise a creature in the universe. Popular creature in universe is popular. Kills off every single one of those creatures in the second game. Gru staring at whiteboard in confusion.
Yeah. Well, not entirely, because Metroid 3, Super Metroid, established that the last Metroid is in captivity. And that's actually the turns out that's the sequel hook for Metroid 4, Metroid Fusion. Because it turns out while the Metroid was in captivity, the Space Federation got around to their own experimentation.
It got stolen out of captivity and then cloned, and then all the clones got killed, and then it got killed. But yes, before that, in the fucking 15 minutes between when Samus left Sarah's station and got called back, apparently they extracted some DNA.
I suppose we don't know how long she was on Ceres.
Oh no! It was longer than that. But in the game, in Super Metroid, it is portrayed as a very short amount of time. Between here, take the Metroid, and it's the equivalent of, to me, okay, it's subjectively, it's okay, here you can have the thing, I'm gonna go get back on the highway, and then they call you back when you're on the on-ramp. And say, we're all getting killed here.
Right. It is important to note that we are talking about the Super NES here, where a slower, more deliberate pacing just hadn't been invented yet. Apparently,
yeah, it's that's in a cutscene. But so yeah, anyway, in Fusion, after Super Metroid, Samus continues taking jobs for the Federation, and in fact, this is apparently where the entire plot of Metroid Other M takes place, but we'll pretend it doesn't. And on one of those things, she goes back to the homeworld of the Metroids, where she killed all the Metroids.
SR-388.
Yes, which is presumably a galactic catalog number or something. So yes, and then while there, in the absence of Metroids, turns out the thing the Metroids ate, which is a parasitic life form mutating mimicking thing, is going out of control and infested her, and she almost died. But luckily, they had those Metroid cells, so apparently, since Metroids are Metroids on the
Genetic
cellular level, getting injected with Metroid turns her into part Metroid and also gets rid of the X infection.
And thus begins her long journey into becoming a fucking menagerie.
I mean, she already had bird DNA.
True. I think that was established by the time of Metroid Fusion.
But at least in that manga, that I think Fusion and Zero Mission both came out shortly after.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so that's the basic overall synopsis of Metroid Fusion. The opinions on Metroid Fusion have been another story entirely. Trending under the negative, because I remember when this game came out in 2002. In fact, I remember playing it about a month before the game officially released. In fact, this is maybe something that Nintendo doesn't want you to know, but a reviewer actually leaked the completed game onto the internet back in 2002, which is how a whole bunch of people, including me, got a hold of it a month early. And as I understand it, Nintendo was right cross about this leak, even though we are talking about 2002 here. So piracy wasn't as rampant as it would be later on, but still.
It also wasn't quite as easy to emulate Game Boy Advance games.
I suppose. I do remember there was a bit of a trick with Metroid Fusion, where you actually had to have the BIOS, the Game Boy Advance BIOS, installed into your emulator in order to play it. That did throw me off a bit, but once I got the BIOS, it was smooth sailing from there. That being said, this is what led to Nintendo establishing the very infamous I'm not exactly sure what it was called, so I'll call it the lockbox. Because Nintendo would send out their first-party games for both this and the DS, basically locked into place. So, reviewers couldn't do what they did with Metroid Fusion. But with that aside, Metroid Fusion. If you don't know the reputation behind it, very simply, it's because it's not been favorable because it went in very different directions than previous Metroid games. Or at least some perceived. Or rather, it's got some more modern or of the time game design elements encased in it. And by that I mean there's a lot more hand holding in this one. That can't be denied. it's like even Metroid Prime, it had hints. It had a hint system, an optional one, but yeah, it was this game flat out has your fucking computer AI say you got to go here, you got to go do this, and you can't go other routes. But here's a secret of Metroid design that speedrunners perhaps may not want you to know. Metroid games weren't designed to be free roaming.
They're a little bit non-linear where you have to go in one direction and then double back.
Yeah.
But a lot of the tech that is considered standard in Super Metroid for sequence breaking was unintended.
Uh-huh. And Metroid Fusion marks the official war Nintendo launched against sequence breaking. And it's something that would affect Metroid Prime, because I think we mentioned it in the Metroid Prime discussion, because the initial version of Metroid Prime could be sequence broken, but Nintendo actually went in and closed off that shit in subsequent re-releases.
Yeah, I think
And
it was
Metroid-
like Japan version 1.1 was sequence breakable, but they fixed it on later releases.
No, it was the American version.
Oh,
1.1.
that's right.
No, yeah, the American version of Metroid Prime released first.
That's right.
But Metroid Fusion, very infamously, is very hard to sequence break and very limited in what you can sequence break with, even to this day.
Isn't there like specifically one sequence break that the computer's like, hey, good job, now go back and do it right?
I think so. And also this game is, as far as I know, impossible to do a 0% item run. You can do a 1%, but there's one missile that you have to collect. And this is like the bane of certain speedrunning communities. But
never mind that without that missile, you can't go through missile doors, but
that's kind of the point.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think there might be a trick. I think the speedrunning has gotten more robust, over the fucking 20 years the game's been out. But it's still not as eminently breakable as Super Metroid.
Uh-huh.
The point is, Metroid Fusion seems a lot more linear than than Super Metroid. But that's mainly because they took away the illusion. Because when you get down to the actual design principle of Super Metroid, there's actually a lot more restrictions in place. It's just they weren't pointed out, and you didn't have a fucking voice going, you got to go here, and you got to do this, and it does eventually relent in the exploratory sense. There's a lot less of that than I think people remember. Which is why
you spend a lot of time there's still usually only one way to go, more or less, but Adam isn't always telling you specifically where to go.
Right. And it's also because this game is a lot more story and specifically character driven than any Metroid seen before. In that Samus decides to narrate about, and this game has actual backstory to it. Which is
she's talking to herself on elevators.
Yeah, for some reason, which is not the same thing as what Metroid Prime did. Metroid Prime, with the scanner logs, has a lot of lore. And lore is not the same thing as as inner monologue. That's the narrative device that Samus Aran is using in Fusion.
Mm-hmm.
She may or may not be expressing it out loud, but she is giving unto the audience her inner thoughts. It's just here's the thing, because it's a video game and not a book, it's a lot clunkier. Inner monologue
Mm-hmm.
is a narrative device that works best in a book because you don't have any visual, so it's a lot more seamless to the actual narrative of that particular medium. Whereas in a video game, it literally has to stop and explain it to you. I will say it's less clunky than trying to do that in a television or movie. And there have been attempts. Looking at you, Dune 1984. It does not work all that well in television and movies. But that's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, anyway, yeah. So we get a lot of Samus's inner monologue, and we get introduced to one Adam Malkovich, who will become a lot more important in the infamous Metroid Other M. Yeah. This is also the game that established the dark side of the Space Federation, in that it established any real side of the Space Federation, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because, previous to this, the Space Federation was kind of a backdrop thing. See also the Space Pirates until Super Metroid. The Space Pirates stole the Metroids in Metroid, but you didn't actually fight them until Super Metroid.
Except for the officer Ridley and Officer Kraid.
Mm. And the central planner of the locality, Mother Brain.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll grant you this is definitely a thing that is kind of split off depending on which continuity you follow, because Metroid Prime, as we previously mentioned, really elevated the space pirates into the antagonist role. Like the specific space pirates that you fight.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas going off of like the Japanese developed games, let's say, it's more like they were much more tied with the Mother Brain option. Anyway, so with that in mind, yeah, Metroid Fusion was quite derided because it, quote unquote, deviated from the principles of Super Metroid.
And specifically because it is kind of slow, and there are a lot of unskippable talky bits, especially really early in the game. And the open-ended collecting stuff is sandwiched like literally right at the end of the game. Like literally you are 2 wrong doors from being locked into the end game sequence as soon as it becomes available to go back to all of the segments and get all the remainder of the collectibles. And this is the first Metroid game, I believe, that had might be the first one that had different endings based on collection as well as just time. So there actually was a incentive to collect everything, but also in order to collect everything, you had to notice basically you had to notice the screw attack blocks on either side near the transition points between the different cylinders on the space station. and go there instead of going into the last briefing room.
Right. Like, yeah, that's where a lot of the cleanup happens, so to speak.
Yeah, well,
Like-
and see, it wouldn't bother me if, like, because the thing is that when you go to that, Adam locks you in the room until Samus reminds him that he's Adam's brain.
Somehow.
Spoilers. Well, digitized personality or whatever. And then he's like, okay, well, the only thing we have left to do is go crash the satellite go crash the space station into the planet. And blow it up. So after that, you can't go back down to any of the zones because the only thing you can do is that. So basically, yeah, the fact that there's a lockout that you get if you go into any briefing room it's really annoying for purposes of, like, you kind of have, if you want it, I mean, I believe it does reload the game just before that point, except you can go back after you beat the game, so you can try it again. But if you're trying to do it as efficiently as possible to fill the time requirement, then that's not possible, you know? Or you wouldn't want to do that. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does. Like, but anyway, yeah, so yeah, I don't think anyone, except perhaps like the most ardent Metroid Fusion fan, would claim that Metroid Fusion is superior to, say, Super Metroid. But
I found its play feel a little bit better, but that's because I've always had way more problems with the play feel of Super Metroid than anyone else I've ever heard of. But again, Super Metroid has a much more interesting environment and stuff.
Right. Some of that is down to how do I put this? The Game Boy Advance itself, or rather, the specific time frame that this game was released in, 2002. Unfortunately, this came out during the period of time when the only Game Boy Advance we had was the original
Yeah, they hadn't come out with the SP, so games were still kind of oversaturated, which could result in some difficulties when you were supposed to be in a dark zone and yet everything was still pretty brightly colored.
Yeah, oversaturated. Things were downright garish at times, but they had to be.
I don't think this one is as bad as Harmony of Dissonance on non-original hardware, but...
Well, Harmony of Dissonance had to overcorrect because you remember Circle of the Moon.
Oh yeah, no. I'm just saying, I don't think this is that bad, but in the nocturnal area, it's kind of noticeable.
Yeah. Well, the point is, like, this game looks, has that distinct 2002 early Game Boy Advance look because you had to wash out your colors and make them really bright in order to stand out on a screen that, quite frankly, sucked.
That needed twice the power produced by the sun to be visible?
Yes.
And also, particularly for the Varia stage of Samus's new outfit is very unappealing looking, let's say.
Yeah, and this is probably why the fusion suit looks like it does in the first place.
Well, so the basic thing with the fusion suit is that the original idea was that it was literally the same power suit, except it had most of the actual armor cut off because of the
like I'm talking about like the color choice. They
Mhm.
probably said, we got to make this stand out on the Game Boy Advance's screen. So let's turn it into this particular hue of purple.
Yeah, well, the first stage is actually fine. It's the same yellow as the original power suit, except instead of having yellow and then orange plating on it, it has blue webbing, pretty much. It's the Varia suit then has a yellow webbing on it that's kind of very bright. It's like highlighter green, if you know what I mean. The default yellow green highlighter color. And then a magenta undersuit, which is pretty unflattering, I think. And that's the only one I have an issue with, because then the gravity suit has a purple outside webbing and a dark blue inner webbing, and that looks great. So
Right. And I think in like some other critiques of Metroid Fusion are the streamlining. Once again, it had to be done because the Game Boy Advance just doesn't have the buttons that the Super NES did.
yeah, the
Like,
controls streamlining particularly. There's a lot of things you could choose to do in Super Metroid that most players probably never would do much of, that you can't do in Fusion, which is largely due to smaller screen, less display space, and or um just literally less buttons. You have pretty much 4 buttons on a Game Boy Advance, not counting start and select, which are pretty much used for menu access. So you no longer have up and down diagonal tilts separately. Instead, one shoulder button is activate tilt shot or diagonal shot, which defaults to up and you have to tap down while holding it to go down. And the other one is the toggle to hold missiles. Which instead of in the original Super Metroid, which gave you 5 alternate fire modes, you had missiles, super missiles, power bombs, radar scope, and grapple beam.
yes, I think that's correct.
That you had to go between by select, and then nothing, or normal. In this, you just have beam mode and missile mode, and the beams and missiles upgrade separately throughout the game, and also you can't mix and match with them. Once you get super missiles, they just replace normal missiles. Power bombs become charged bombs, basically. And the beam upgrades all stack with each other, but you can't turn any of them off. In exchange for this, you no longer get an ice beam, so that you don't have to deal with irreversibly every time you shoot something, it freezes before it dies. Instead, they give you an ice missile. The excuse for that is that since Samus has Metroid physiology, she's weak to cold now. But apparently that doesn't affect it when you're shooting cryogenic missiles and then getting caught in the blast wave. So
Try not to think about it. Much.
Yeah, it's just repeat to yourself, it's just a game. You really should relax.
Right. Anyway, I'm sure we could talk about Metroid Fusion a great deal more, but we should really wrap up because we're getting close to MSP time.
Yeah, my last thoughts on it are more or less. I think it seemed like, at least by the run up to Dread, between Dread being announced and coming out, that people are thinking less negatively about Fusion. Which is good because I think it is still a good game. It just has limitations as expected by something on that hardware. Patty, do you have anything else to add?
I think I'm good.
All right then. So yeah, that'll about do it for this topic of discussion, and indeed this this very episode. So coming up on the week ahead, we do have a new episode of Moonhawk Studios Presents planned, happening in a few minutes here at this particular moment of time. Let's see, no Friday show this week, and happening this week on the Sunday reviews, we will be having reviews of War Dogs: Red's Return, Mermaid Story, Bad Caterpillar, and El Paso Nightmare. So until next time, I shall wish you good gaming.